No way! Oh, wait.
Oh, hi. Hey, film fans, or should we say fantasy fans? It's Bridget.
And Riley.
Today, we're going to be delving deep into the wonders of human imagination.
Yeah, that's right. We're talking all about fantasy, folks.
Riley, are you much of a fantasy fiend?
I wouldn't say it's my top genre, but it's definitely up there. I mean, no one can tell me that they don't like movies like Harry Potter
Agreed.
and Avatar.
Well, have you ever wondered what makes these movies so magical? Because today, we're going to figure out how filmmakers can create these fantastical worlds.
First, let's go to the different genres of fantasy, because there are a lot.
Well, when you're trying to place people's imaginative worlds into subgenres, there are bound to be a few. The human mind is a crazy place.
I know mine is. Okay, so we have high fantasy, like Lord of the Rings, that solely focuses on a hero's journey. While the world might be detailed and thought out, it's the characters' journeys the directors are set to concentrate on.
Yes, Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings is a hallmark for many fantasy adventures, and it is so evident in his camera work and plot structure that he really wanted to express Frodo's and the Hobbit's emotions and strife on their heroic journey.
Similar to high fantasy is epic fantasy, well known for its vast, thorough world building and big-scale plots, focusing on the social and political aspects of the fantasy world that has been created. Just like in Alice in Wonderland, audiences are swept into the world of Wonderland and the epic feeling of the environment and political and social conflicts, rather than the characters' own stories.
You know what kind of fantasy I always love? A little bit of urban fantasy, incorporating our own familiar world with the magical. Like in J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter, directed on the big screen by Mike Newell, audiences and fans like me can feel like our world might have something more magical to offer than reality. Therefore, allowing audiences to be sucked into these familiar yet wonderful stories, as if I could really go to Hogwarts.
Ah, hasn't everyone? I'm a Ravenclaw, by the way.
I'm a Ravenclaw too.
Oh my God. You know what else I would love to be? A knight in shining armor, just like in our romance episode. Man, fantasy films like King Arthur always make me want to go on quests and fight dragons to delve deep and find courage and honor and bravery. This specific corner of fantasy is obviously sword and sorcery, and unsurprisingly, is extremely popular.
How could it not be? We all grow up listening to classic stories of knights going on quests and saving princesses, but when it is brought to life on the big screen, it can really create a whole new feeling.
Hey Bridget, have you ever watched one of those spooky fantasies?
You mean when Harry and Ron go into the Forbidden Forest with all the spiders?
No, you know, dark fantasy films like Pan's Labyrinth, they use horror and dark themes to explore nightmarish and otherworldly figures. While horror is all about human-like monsters, dark fantasy looks at figures that normally the human brain wouldn't be able to comprehend. It can definitely get very eerie.
Okay, stop. I can only deal with one spooky episode. Moving on, we have portal fantasy, where typically the main character is transported from their world into another faraway land through a portal of some kind. This is perfectly done in our childhood favourite, Chronicles of Narnia, where 4 siblings enter a wardrobe and descend into a land of magic and astonishment.
What an all-time fave. Is it just me, or did anyone else want to eat those Turkish delights too? No? Okay, fair. They were from a scary ice queen. Anyway, our last genre today is obviously superhero fantasy. What world would we live in if we couldn't have stronger and more powerful, morally just humans to look up to? In a world of heroes and villains, directors can tell audiences the difference between right and wrong in our society through magical and mystical means.
When talking about fantasy, we have to give credit to some of the early pioneers of fantasy films that paved the way for the future of filmmakers. Starting off with George Méliès, who we have discussed in our earlier episodes.
Méliès' Trip to the Moon was made in 1902, entirely created through practical effects, with a long list of various special effects used, such as stop motion, film splices, painted colour film, dissolves, and the list goes on and on.
Thanks to Méliès, we now have a variety of sci-fi and fantasy favourites, such as E.T., Dark Crystal, The Princess Bride, The Labyrinth, Willow, and so many more.
Speaking of 80s fantasy, many of the special effects in those films were made by hand, by combining a variety of props, sets, creatures, and vehicles to bring a story to life.
Whilst most films these days rely on CGI, films back in the day had all kinds of crazy set pieces made completely by hand.
Fun fact, E.T. was an animatronic puppet manipulated by two different actors, Pat Billen, who was only 2 feet and 10 inches tall, and 12-year-old Matthew D. Merritt, who was born without legs.
Something very noticeable about 80s fantasy films is the use of colour. Since most of these were shot on film with practical effects, a lot of the colour grading was done on camera rather than colour correcting in post. The films therefore relied on a natural colour palette, with the colour mainly coming from lighting.
You know what's another funny thing I noticed about 80s films? They're full of product placement.
Oh my gosh, you're so right. Take Marty McFly from Back to the Future, for example. All he wanted was a Pepsi.
You know, it's a funny thing too, because even Stranger Things, a modern show that is heavily inspired by 80s fantasy and sci-fi films, tries to replicate the same style of product placement.
I wish I could say I hate it, but every time I see those kids drinking a Coke, I want one too.
Now, we are going to build our own fantasy world.
Hey guys, ever wondered what the behind the scenes of a film looks like? Many fantasy films rely heavily on props, sets, and costumes to make the film come to life.
Today, we are here at the Deakin Props and Costume Department to see how these set pieces come to life, and even to battle it out to see who can make a better costume.
Riley's theme is going to be sci-fi,
And Bridget's doing medieval.
so let's start.
There's so much stuff in here. Literally, and there's even more back there.
I don't even know where to start.
So many options.
Okay, I've spotted some hats. I think I'm gonna start with like crowns or something because I'm gonna go like knight, king, Bridget Knight and Riley King. I'm gonna like fuse the two. So I've spotted a little hat. I don't know if I should be like a squire, but I've also spotted like, I don't know what Riley's gonna do, so I wanna go like full on. So I think I'm gonna wear this. And maybe, maybe this chest plate looks good. It's very knightly. It's giving Paul Mescal gladiator. So I think I'm on the right track. The sword in the stone, bro. That's wild, actually. Okay, on to the next.
Okay, so I already found a dress in the other room that I think would work well, so I'm looking for accessories now. I think this hat over here is kind of sci-fi vibes, you know, the silver. I feel like it works, so I'm gonna put it down here for now. And this mask as well could be like a victim of mine because I'm such a good killer. I steal his mask and like keep it on me at all times to remember. Another main thing is jewelry. This cabinet here has a bunch, so I might look through some of these. Like that's kind of cool, matches the dress a little bit. What else? Maybe this could be cool too. Some black bands as well might work. There are other containers as well. This one. What could work? That works, kind of matches the vibe. That could be cool. Just some chains as well. I think the main part of my outfit is going to have to be the accessories. Yeah, I think that's all.
Okay, I'm going into the costume and I'm hoping to find something like old and like maybe like gold a little bit. So, well, this actually works really well. I think I'll grab this. Maybe I'll ditch the chest plate. Maybe, oh, I didn't, this looks pretty good too. Let's keep looking, let's go. I'm kind of scared I'm gonna get lost in here. There's a lot going on. I don't know what else. Maybe some chainmail or something. Oh! That's wild. It's like it was just there for me. Okay, I'm gonna go put this on and hopefully I'll beat Riley.
Okay, so now it's my turn to check out the costume department. Okay, where to start? I'm seeing these glasses here that I think are pretty cool and definitely match the accessories I was picking out before. This is cool. Definitely doesn't work for sci-fi though. But this dress totally does. Again, the silver and the black, I feel like that's the vibe that I've sort of got going. What else? Is there anything down here? No, definitely not. They're all period stuff. What else? Oh, these gloves are cool. They could work, definitely. The leather vibe as well. And, oh my god, this jacket as well. It's perfect. Works so well with the dress. I might just go back this way and check out some other stuff over here because I thought I saw a scarf that could possibly work really well. Yeah, here.
Whoa, the big reveal.
Nice costume.
Thank you, nice outfit.
Thank you.
I see you've got the silver accents.
Yeah, I went for
accessories.
silver and black because I thought that was more of a sci-fi matrixy kind of
I
look.
see it, I see
Yeah,
it.
you've got the red and the gold.
Yeah, more gold than silver. Going for my statement red and crown because I'm the king. So,
I'm the king, actually.
there can only be one winner. So vote on our Instagram poll. Who you think won this challenge? Was me.
Anyway, we'll see you guys back in the studio.
What a great world we made, but it's kind of nice to be back on Earth.
Tell us what you thought, film fans, if you think our set was believable. You can leave comments on our fantasy episode post on our Instagram page, Movie Night TV.
Isn't it wonderful how we have such amazing technologies like our virtual screen to use? Special effects have definitely come a long way.
Yeah, back in the day, the first special effects were used in the 1925 film The Lost World. They used stop motion to create a dinosaur which interacted with the real actors. This was revolutionary in the advancement of the effects on the screen and opened people's minds to the possibilities filmmakers could explore to bring their fantastical worlds to life.
Another example of this is the first King Kong film, which used stop motion and matte paintings as backdrops to create otherworldly images. You could say these painted backdrops were the first original green screens or virtual production screens.
Jumping ahead to the 1990s, once sound, colour and digital cameras had been introduced, movies like Star Wars began to emerge, using computer-generated imagery and CGI to further immerse audiences into the director's imagination.
This technology has advanced all the way to the present, and virtual reality has become a staple in any fantasy-based film. Avatar being one of the groundbreaking movies that encouraged this evolution of advancement.
Yeah, did you know that cameras were actually being created specifically for the film? And technologies like the VFX Avatar face ring and blend shape system were invented during the production of the film to better create Na'vi to the actors' facial expressions and movements.
You know, some critics wonder if films nowadays rely too heavy on CGI and virtual reality, and worry that the extent of it used in films like Marvel take away from the character story and emotional connection to the audience.
I mean, there is a reason all of us feel such a connection to 80s films. Their special effects using props and sets that you can see and touch in real life, understandingly though, add so much depth and emotion to the stories. I find the fantasy genre so fascinating as it can be appealing to everyone of all ages.
That's true. I grew up with films like Bridge to Terabithia, which was such a magical experience to watch as a child. The creativity in the storytelling and the way the visuals come to life was absolutely spectacular. Plus, the world building was really unique thanks to the cinematography, production design, and the score.
Fantasy is also found in plenty of animation films, from Disney to Studio Ghibli. There's a little magic in every single one of those films. That makes it so fun to watch, especially as a child.
To be fair, even as an adult, I still stand by my love for Peter Pan.
Really?
Yeah. Anyway, I'd say my favorite fantasy genre as an adult has to be dark fantasy.
Ooh, spooky.
Films such as Pan's Labyrinth and Crimson Peak have stunning visuals and incredible storytelling that sends chills down my spine.
Well, enough about your spine. Why don't we actually try step into a fantasy film?
Let's go!
Greetings, Earthlings. My name is David, and today I'm going to explain the rules of world building commonly seen in fantasy films and in games like Dungeons and Dragons. First, we have to set the scene. Where are we? Who are we? And what are we?
For example, imagine I am the games master of our game. I get to create the scene, the surrounding environment, and possible challenges that your characters might face. Just like authors and writers, we must begin asking ourselves what our world will look like. Is it a built-up futuristic suburbia, or a lush new forested world to explore? What is the terrain like? Is it a tough desert, or not subjected to one place? Is this world populated? And where do your characters fit into that society? Well, if you're not the games master, it's up to you to decide who your characters are. You can expand on their strengths and weaknesses. Their characteristics and personalities will decide how they will fare through these challenges. Films and books use these details to make the audience feel closer to the characters. If you're creating a script, it is how your characters deal with challenges that ultimately shows the audience who they truly are.
Next, what magic and technology are we using? How does this magic and technology in the world work?
In any fantasy world, there will be rules set in place by the author, director, or writer of how that world works. These are just some of the fantasy world rules you may be familiar with. This is crucial to allow the audience to feel that they have been transported into and surrounded by this world. For instance, if I'm the game master and I decide that all wizards have been exiled and are banned from the city because this world prohibits magic, this influences how your character, as a wizard, may have to behave and act throughout his journey. Maybe he has to use invisibility spells or disguises to get into the city.
And of course, a good story will always have an adventure and quest for our characters to follow.
This creates drama and excitement into any story, making your characters more enticing as we watch to see how they act when faced with challenges. Your games master is the controller of the narrative, and the players advocate for the characters, which makes it an amazing tool to get inside the minds of the characters you create for your own films. So you might want to give it a try and get those creative juices flowing.
Whether it's fighting dragons or kissing toads, you'll be on plenty of exciting and thrilling experiences throughout your journey. Anyway, that's all I have to say.
Well, film fans, that was an adventure. I hope you enjoyed.
Yeah, if you need some ideas for your next fantasy adventure, you can find inspiration anywhere. The sky's the limit for this genre.
Well, we're pretty pooped after our epic quests and battles fighting dragons and all. We hope you enjoyed this episode of Movie Night.
Stay tuned until next time for more. Bye!